take that step back. We are seeing the true quarterback that he really is, which he is not a very good quarterback.
Welcome to the Man Now, where we taking over. It's time to give you them facts. Won't miss a game or two, cause we here for you and we reporting all of them stats. We coming to you live to keep you updated. Broadcast across the country, we the fan favorites. Break the volume to the max and don't nobody touch it. We crossing topics off the list, addressing every subject. So if you ain't got a clue, then you can tune in and give it 24 hours and we back again. Breaking news, new scoops, we the top dogs. From the fields to the courts, we report it all. Buzzer beaters through your speakers, we the ones to call. Trust us for the news if it's got a ball. Giving you the top stories cause we love the turf. Tell a friend to tune in and where you heard it first. Yeah, you're listening to the Man Now. We taking over, it's time to give you them stats. Yeah, you listen to the Man Now. Miss a game or two cause we reporting all of them facts. Yeah, you listen to the Man Now. We taking over, it's time to give you them facts. Turn the speakers up a little loud. Miss a game or two cause we reporting all of them stats. Cause you listen to the Man Hour.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckasher here with the Man Hour. Be sure to head over to manhourradio.com and check out the merchandise page. We got some new merch that is dropping over there. Probably in the next week, we got that new Man Hour logo merch that is dropping, and possibly some March Madness merch as well. So guys, stay tuned over there to manhourradio.com and just stay active on there, because you never know when we're going to drop new merch. And those special items are only going to be sold for like 2 weeks. So bada bing, bada boom, jump in there, get it, and then you out. Shirts are as little as $15 over there at manhourradio.com. Of course, we got hoodies, beanies, and hats, all that good stuff. We do have a mediocre show lined up for you guys tonight. Let's not set the bar up too high, but we are going to preview the Super Bowl. Super Bowl is just days away now. Today's Wednesday, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, man, we're looking at 4 days till the Super Bowl is here. So, of course, along with the Super Bowl, like, we got some over-under Super Bowl picks, and we got the Man Hour Awards as well. But, guys, before I welcome the man, the myth, the legend himself, we have some somber news to announce here on the Man Hour. It recently just came out here in the last hour, but former Major League Baseball player Jeremy Giambi has died at the age of 47. He was he played 6 seasons with the Oakland A's, and he also had a few seasons with the Kansas City Royals, the Phillies, and the Boston Red Sox. He did last play in 2023. Or 2003, I should say. So Combs, baseball is your bread and butter. Jeremy Giambi was right in the heyday of when baseball was making its comeback up, right? So, I mean, this is your first of you hearing of this news here. So, what is your first initial thoughts on that?
It's heartbreaking. I don't know if a cause of death has been released.
It has not been provided yet. Yep.
So, man, not the way I usually start the show. Usually I come on welcoming Man Hour Nation and all you guys. That's tough news. I watched Jeremy Giambi throughout his career. His brother Jason also played in the league as well, and Jeremy Giambi was, you'll always see him on ESPN because they always show those Derek Jeter highlights where he, ran across the field, caught the ball that was thrown errantly, and then backflipped the ball to home to throw at a guy at the plate. That was Jeremy Giambi that he was throwing out at the plate. And one of the most heads-up plays I've ever seen. Jeremy Giambi was he was a stud. That's sad. 47, I think maybe he was 47, 48.
Yep. 47 years old.
That's brutal.
Yeah. Because, I first saw it on Twitter. Like, I got a notification on my phone. So the first thing I had to do is I had to, check the source, right? Because there are spams account that, celebrities die all the time, right? I mean, hell, like, I think Adam Sandler's died like 4 times in the last 10 years. So I had to make sure it was legit, and then I jumped on.
Schefter's reporting it. You want to make sure it's not too early,
right? Dude, too soon. No, but yeah. So guys, it has been confirmed by multiple sources. It is out on ESPN, Fox News, CNN. So, unfortunately,
I don't know if he was sick or not, but that's, it's just, Yeah, that's tough news.
Yeah.
And thoughts and prayers to his family for sure.
Yeah, so speaking of tough news as well, before we jump into the NFL side of things, Rob Manfred is set to address the media Thursday, and many people are speculating that he is stepping away from being commissioner of Major League. Combs, what do you think about that?
Oh my God. I was just about to say, is there any chance that he can take Jeremy Giambi's place?
Oh,
But I will take him stepping down as if he steps down as commissioner. That will be.
Yep.
I will come on tomorrow's show, and I'm telling you right now, we'll be partying naked.
Well,
That would be the best news I've had in all off season with baseball, with this whole horrendous freaking lockout and everything that they're dealing with. None of the players support him. None of the players like him.
Yeah,
it would be amazing news to hear of this man stepping down, because he does not belong as the commissioner of baseball at all.
Who was the commissioner before him? His name slipped in my mind. Do you remember who it was?
You're talking about Bud Selig?
Yeah, Bud Selig. So once, that was 2005 when he took over, right? Or he retired? Give or take, I can't remember for sure.
Manfred, I think it was later than that, but I'd have to double check.
But ever since Manfred has taken over commissioner, baseball has gone down. And if he does step away, maybe they'll bring a minority in, right, and bring some swag into the game, Combsy.
Or maybe they'll finally hire me.
Probably not. But we do see some people in the chat here. We see Rule of Jungle. What's up, guys? He asks, am I missing the morning show? So you are not missing the morning show, my man. What Combs? It was like Monday afternoon. I got a call from my boss, like, hey, we are no longer working second shift or third shift for the rest of the week, so I'm going to need you to come in first shift. So I worked till like 4 a.m. and then I turned around and went to work at 7 a.m. So it was really exciting. So that's why I actually worked late on Tuesday.
That's always fun.
Yeah. So So I got like 3 hours of sleep. I didn't get any sleep. I went back to work. Worked till like 9 o'clock that night. I can't remember when I got home. But yeah, and I was dog tired. So you guys are not missing the morning show. Hopefully it'll be back next week. I should know more by Friday. I'm not for sure. But as you guys know, the motor industry is very, very up and down right now. And, when cars aren't being produced, there's no reason to have IT there. So
what's the worse than your schedule getting switched like that?
What's that?
Training the guy who got the position that you applied for.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I got your job, Combs, but you still got to train me the right way. We do see my man Alpha Rob in the chat. What's up, Alpha Rob? He says I hate hearing about guys I grew up watching die. So yeah I mean,
it's very sad news. It's one of those where you always, like, for me, God, Kobe. I think Kobe was a really hard one. When we found out about Kobe,
that's just 30-something kids, right?
Yeah, and then you start hearing about players here and players there. Junior Seau was another one that comes to mind.
That one hurt me because CTE it started to become a reality.
And Jeremy Giambi, I mean, even though he wasn't the biggest name out of the Giambi family, he was still a really solid baseball player. It's still really tough to hear, and so. Yeah, the baseball world, baseball fans, we lost a good one tonight. So, it's always tough news. Speaking of baseball, though, we do have an interview lined up for tomorrow. You want to tell the people, or you want me to tell the people what we got?
I want you to tell the people, because this is your man. This is Mr. Cubby himself.
Yeah, so I don't know about Mr. Cubby, but he did play last season with the Cubs. Him and his brother both play with the Cubs. We are actually going to have Andrew Romine on the show tomorrow. I've been chatting with him via Facebook, and so we're going to have him on the show tomorrow night. He is committed to doing an interview with us, and it'll be a good one for sure. I got some questions lined up. If there's anything you guys want me to ask Andrew Romine, make sure you hit me up in the comments. We are going to pre-record that interview as he is not available during showtime, but we are going to pre-record it. So if you guys have anything you would want me to ask recently retired Major League Baseball player Andrew Romine, feel free to hit it up in the chat, and I'll make sure that we ask him and pull it up in the interview.
Yes, sir. So hashtag refs, guys, just go ahead and let us know any questions that you might possibly have. So the Ref Nation over there, give us a hashtag refs if you guys are watching, just to piss Combs off tonight, because hashtag refs is taking off like wildfire. Throw
the flag.
Throw that flag. But speaking of throwing flags, let's jump into the NFL talk here. And Roger Goodell says that the NFL basically fell short in increasing the number of minority head coaches this off season. So, Combsy, there were really only 2, maybe 3 candidates that I can think of that interviewed as a minority but did not get the job. One being Eric Bieniemy, Byron Leftwich, which turned his job down, and then Brian Flores probably would have got the Houston job if he wouldn't have filed a lawsuit, even though the Houston GM said it wasn't that. So did any of those candidates really get screwed in the end?
Let me ask you a question, Buck.
Yes, sir.
Can you name me a minority candidate that was more qualified for a job than any of the candidates that got hired?
To be honest with you, no. The only one that comes to mind off the top of my head was the Chargers head coach from 2 years ago, which he got fired when he took his team to the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. And then he was the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. His name slipped in my mind, but that is the only person that I thought was going to get a head job that did not get a head job.
I'm trying to think of his name as well. I can picture his face.
It's Leslie something, isn't it? I don't know.
No, that's Leslie Frazier.
No,
he does not belong as a head coach. And even Lovie Smith, I question that hire as well.
That was stupid.
Lovie Smith was 20 games over 500 with the Chicago Bears, right? But he had Lance Briggs on that team. He had Peanut Tillman on that team. He had Brian Urlacher was on that team. Devin Hester was on that team. 4 Hall of Famers right off the top of my head that I just named were on that team. And they were 20 games over 500. They had a really solid defense. Then he went to Tampa Bay, which had a really depleted roster, and he was 6-24 in his 2 seasons there. And you're going to Houston now, and you're getting more of a roster like you had in Tampa Bay than you are getting a roster like you had in Chicago at that point. So I didn't understand that hire. I didn't like the Lovie hire. If I'm going to talk about any of those guys who got snubbed, the Eric Bieniemy comes to mind. Brian Flores obviously comes to mind. I think Brian Flores is a good head coach, but you're not going to get a job when you have a lawsuit going up against the league that you're applying for jobs for. Right. It's not going to happen, so it's kind of on him. I don't think any of these candidates really got snubbed, though, right? Because look at the guys that got hired. So Matt Eberflus is probably the most questionable of all of them coming to Chicago, but he has a rapport already with Ryan Poles,
hired by a black GM. A black GM.
He was hired. Yeah, exactly. He was hired by a minority GM. He then you look at other guys. So the guy who got hired in Miami, he identifies as being biracial. Maybe that's what everybody in the NFL needs to do. All my white coaches, just identify as being biracial, and you'll be all right. But so you had him, you had Lovie Smith, and then you joined Mike Tomlin and Ron Rivera as minority head coaches in this league. But it's not like there's a plethora of them, that were in the running that you just look at. You look at guys like Leslie Frazier. You look at guys like Hugh Jackson. You look at guys like, I went over this the other day. Their records are atrocious as head coaches.
Right.
I don't want Leslie Frazier anywhere near my program. I don't want those guys I don't want them anywhere near being a head coach. I mean, Alfa Rao's been trying to give him away for a bag of peanuts for like the last 3 months.
Right.
There is nothing about Leslie Frazier that says he got snubbed. There's nothing about Leslie Frazier that says that I want him near my team. Eric Bieniemy was a guy who I said from the start that I wanted as. How long have I been pandering for Eric Bieniemy in Chicago?
At least 2 years that we've been doing the Man Hour. Yeah.
And as soon as they drafted Justin Fields, I said Eric Bieniemy would be a great hire here.
So,
but they went a different route. Ryan Poles went a different route.
Yeah.
And he went a different route and didn't even hire the guy from the organization. He just left.
Which should tell you something, right? Because Eric Bieniemy interviewed with the Saints for 10 hours. They said, right. He was there,
and they promoted from within,
day.
So you can't argue about that.
Yeah, so he was there for all freaking day. An associate GM in Ryan Poles did not hire him as well. I don't think he even viewed him.
No,
right?
He did not.
So for the last two seasons, Eric Bieniemy has been hired and has been passed over. So for whatever reason, he does not fit the mold of a head coach, and some people just don't. Some people are meant to be offensive coordinators. Matt Nagy comes to mind.
Jesus,
Matt Nagy was a pretty good offensive coordinator, right? What did he do as a head?
No, he was not.
Well, he was better than.
Did you
head
watch
coach.
that offense take a dive in the last playoffs that he coached?
Yes.
In Kansas City?
Yes. But that's besides the point. What I want to bring up here is there are, 6 non-white head coaches now in the NFL? So that is roughly about 20% of the coaches are now, or 20% of the coaches are non-white coaches now. At this point, is the NFL just trying to pander and reach for something to kind of give a dog a bone?
I don't know. You think about guys like Terrell Austin from Pittsburgh. You look at Marcus Brady over in Indianapolis, and you look at there's another guy over there from Dallas. I can't think of his name. Those are some coordinators that are minorities that should get another look at, right? But the guys that got hired, you can't really argue against it. And to say that oh, they're not doing a good job or they're failing at hiring more minority head coaches, why? Why, when what the NFL owners did was hired the guys that best fit their scheme? And like we said, even one of them was a minority GM. He's the one who made the hire. So I don't understand where we're going with this. So we've talked about this at length on this show. I don't want to continue to get into it, but this thing is like beating a dead horse. If you want to talk to me about minority head coaches not getting a shot in the league, you've got to show me a spot where in the last 19 years, when there have been 25 of them that have been hired as head coaches and only 3 of them have winning records, you've got to show me a reason why they're not getting more. You got to show me why they're a better candidate. You got to show me what makes this guy a better candidate than Matt Eberflus. And it can't just be because of the color of his skin.
Exactly.
If he's a better, I still think right now to this second, I still believe Eric Bieniemy was a better candidate as head coach for the Chicago Bears than Matt Eberflus. But the guy hired to hire him, who is a minority himself, did not agree with me.
Yeah.
The guy just got done working with him. They were in the same organization.
For the last 3 years, right? 4 years.
For the last 3 years, they have a relationship. They know each other. And Ryan Poles said, nah, we're good.
Yeah, I mean, and he didn't even get a interview. So, I mean, like, I get it, just like you said, Combs. Like, we have talked about this about nauseum on the show. We did a whole 2-hour special with Luke G talking about this very thing. And like, at what point are you like, just like I said, beginning of the show, you throw enough spaghetti at a wall, something is going to stick. And what is sticking out in my mind? Ryan Poles got hired. He did not hire a black coach or an Asian coach or a Mexican coach, right? Just because he's all about winning. He wants to win. And color of the skin doesn't matter at the end of the day. And people like Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp, Ryan Clark, right? All these guys are trying to portray this narrative that, the white man is bad, right? Slave owners. But, come on, like, you want to win football games at the end of the day, right? Do you really care what color your coach is, if it's a man or a woman or a your or their or them or they, right? It doesn't matter. Can you put a winning product on the field? Can you put asses in the seats? Can you sell my $15.36 hot dog? Can you do that?
Yeah, I can't stress enough that if there is a candidate out there that you can bring to me, because I listen to what Goodell is saying, I listen to what what Flores said in his thing. I've listened to what all the ESPN people have said over the last week, and it's making me want to punch half of them in the throat. But I'm listening to him, and I ask the question: give me a minority candidate. I'll give you Eric Bieniemy. Give me a minority candidate.
Anthony Lynn is the Detroit guy's name. Anthony Lynn. But
what was Anthony Lynn's record in San Diego?
Oh, he was 500. He was probably like 30-30 something. Like he was 500.
He won a bet.
Yeah, he had to have at least 30 wins because he led him to two playoff berths. I mean, that right there alone is probably 10, 11 wins. And his first year was with Phillip Rivers, right? And I think they were 13-3 that particular year, but they lost in the first round of the playoffs to the Steelers, maybe. Was it the Steelers?
Yeah, you are correct. He does have a winning record. Do you know how many games over 500 do you believe he is?
Oh, I thought he was 500, so probably one or two at max.
Yeah, he's 32-31. So why is a guy who's a 500 coach? We'll give him 500. 500 is not a bad record. I mean, he's one game over, so he's got a winning record technically. Okay, would you take your chances heading into a league with a guy who is a minority where you're having problems and you just want to boost the numbers, hire a guy who's just barely over 500? Or would you want to give your organization, let's face it, if you're looking for a coach, you probably don't have a really good team.
Right.
Would you want to hire a guy and give him a chance to prove himself?
I guess if you're the Jaguars.
And he's trying to prove himself. But the Jaguars tried hiring a minority head coach.
Yeah.
And he said, no, not unless you let me pick my GM.
I want to be the GM and first-year coach.
I just, you know what
That's
I mean?
That's kind of what it came down to, right?
It's so bad that it's the NFL pandering to the fans and to this lawsuit that they have against them. Like, hey, look, I mean, we're going to go out in the media. We're going to say, hey, we did a bad job. Now we're going to try to be better. And they're not going to do anything. Nothing's going to change because you can't change it.
Right.
How do you force somebody to hire somebody they don't want?
Offer them draft picks and money, right?
Yeah. Look, and you can't tell me that nobody's had a chance. Mike Tomlin is the second longest tenured coach in the NFL.
Behind
the last time I checked, Mike Tomlin is minority.
Well, at the same team, because Andy Reid's been in the league forever. He was at the Eagles for 15 years.
At the same team, but he's the longest tenured head coach with one team.
Right.
And to say that they don't get a raw deal, or I heard freaking Swagoo on ESPN, Marcus Spears, say that the only reason Houston hired a minority head coach is because they know that in 2 years they're going to be firing them because they're terrible. So now you want to pick and choose. Like, now it's not good. Name me one really good team right now. One really good team that's looking for a head coach.
Jaguars.
Shut your damn mouth.
Jaguars are a playmaker away from being a playoff team.
They won 2 games, Buck.
Yeah, with a head coach that's more worried about doing cocaine off hookers' asses.
He was gone after week 5.
I don't know. He was there till week 9, wasn't he? It doesn't matter.
Let's see. Who was looking for head coaches this year? Let's go through the team. So Miami was looking for a head coach. They're probably the closest thing to a good team.
Are they,
that was looking for a head coach because they were close to a playoff spot.
Was it because of the coach?
I mean,
You said Brian Flores was a good coach. Was it because of their coach? Or because of the
I do believe he
schedule?
No, I do believe he was a good head coach. I mean, he had a winning record in Miami.
Yeah.
It was hard in Miami, but he had a winning record, especially when you're getting paid to lose.
Right, allegedly.
You look at you see how fast Hugh Jackson backed off his comments today?
That was shoot,
yeah,
I heard that on Tuesday.
He got paid to lose, then he got paid to retract.
Yeah.
That was quick.
I talked about that on the morning show on Monday. So that came out literally probably days after he come out and supported.
Just he's like, oh well, it was a different scenario, but still,
I misunderstood what the $50,000 was for.
you had Miami Dolphins, but then you had the Houston Texans looking for a team, a head coach. They're terrible. Jacksonville, terrible. Mm-hmm. You had the
Giants, right? No, the Giants.
No, the Las Vegas Raiders, which
that's probably the best opportunity.
Is Bisaccia minority?
He looked like he was mixed, but he did not get
hired.
All right,
so if Bisaccia is, I don't know what his race is. I really don't care. I think he got screwed out of a gig.
How do you turn that team around? Well, I mean, didn't return kept the momentum of that team after everything that went through this season. They made it to the playoffs.
And the players were pining for him to be the head coach.
You know what I loved about him? He wrote individual letter to every player on the team, thanking them for their time and service this year.
Yeah.
What coach does that? Nobody.
Absolutely.
I so then you had the Chicago
Bears.
Kids.
You had the Chicago Bears looking for, and they're far away from being even a playoff team.
Yeah.
So you got the Bears looking. There's another team that's not very, very good right now. The New Orleans Saints, but they hired from within.
If you look at that team, that's the team's a dumpster fire too. If you want to be honest about it.
Stop it. You got Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston's a free agent. You don't even know if he's coming back.
And
Alvin Kamara's going to be 5 years in jail, and Michael Thomas is still going to be hurt.
I think the Seattle Seahawks should be looking for a head coach soon too.
They should be. and then you got the Vikings too, and the Vikings were probably the best team besides the Raiders out of all that.
Yeah, the Vikings are a solid team. They're a quarterback away, I believe. I know a lot of people don't like hearing that because they think, really?
Yeah.
I think they're a quarterback away. Look, I mean, people used to always call Matthew Stafford a stat patter. If anybody's a stat patter, it's freaking
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
I don't believe that guy can't win in prime time. He can't win big games. He can't do anything.
I don't know. True. But let's jump into some comments here before we jump into the next topic here. Alpha Rob says the NFL is a business of winning. If you don't win, you get fired. Look at Peterson. So Doug Peterson was fired as a Philadelphia Eagles head coach, but I don't think it was because of his ability. Because usually when you have a Super Bowl, you're good for 5 years, right, Holmes? Like usually,
yeah, he got fired because of Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz got him fired.
Well, like are we looking, because I feel like the management wanted Hurts to play, but Doug Peterson wanted Wentz to play.
No, Doug Peterson didn't want Wentz to play at all.
Okay.
Doug Peterson was done with Wentz, and he felt I think Wentz came out and said that, or went to management and said that Peterson intentionally was calling plays to get him hurt.
Well, what was it, like week 12 or week 13 of that particular season? Hurts came in for Wentz, and then Peterson was fired like the next day. So,
yeah.
I mean, but obviously, winning is a business. And then Alpha Rob says Flores didn't have any black coordinators. That is very, very true.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Right, and it's so funny because then you look at his lawsuit and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yes.
And that's what gets me. Like the whole thing, just it's the whole thing reeks. It has no merit. I don't like it. It's about agendas and forcing things to be an issue that aren't really an issue.
Right. And Alpha Rob says that it is a money grab, and that's why all the sports media talk about it. We are talking about it because it is actual news. We aren't grabbing for money by like any means. So don't ever get that twisted.
No. Stop, Buck. If there's money, put it in front of me. I'll grab for it. I'll grab for it.
Whoa, flag on the play. Hashtag refs. Refs give Combs a flag. He's not grabbing for like any money. Michelle's, I had to grab Dad's phone. My phone dead. My phone is dead. Oh, never mind. I must have signed into my account. Long day. Speaking of long days, my man Jonathan Allen, Mr. Kami himself, that name fits perfectly right now, right, Combs? But Jonathan Allen is a Washington comrade, commies, and basically he had a commander, my bad, not comrades, but he had his Twitter open saying, hey, ask me anything. He must have been bored. And somebody asked him, if you can have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who are you inviting? Jonathan Allen replied, my granddad, Hitler, and Michael Jackson. And then the Nick Chappelle, which his Twitter's about to blow up, let's just be honest. And he says, 2 of the 3 I understand, but please explain Hitler. Jonathan Allen replied, he is a military genius, and I love military tactics, but honestly, I would have to pick his brain as to why he did what he did. I'm also assuming that the people that I have chosen have to answer all my questions honestly. So the headline that we are all reading is that Jonathan Allen wants to have dinner with Hitler. We are not reading that whole quote there, Combs, but eventually Jonathan Allen did come out and say, hey, I'm sorry for saying what I did. My bad. Does Jonathan Allen have to apologize for this, Combs?
Some people say that it's Hitler's, a racist being, and to support him is to support racism. Quick question.
Yeah.
What color is Jonathan Allen?
Black people can't be racist. We all know that.
Stop.
But
for Jonathan Allen to come out and say, I want to have dinner with Hitler, right, is fine. Because if you want to pick his brain, you want to talk about why he did what he did and have that conversation, I'm fine with that. Like, so what? So you want to understand? That'd be like, if I had a chance, would you want to sit down and have a conversation and have dinner with, who's name a famous mass murderer? God, I can't think of any right now off the top of my head. But to get inside their head and understand what they were thinking and why they did what they did, I don't see anything wrong with that. We see it all the time. They make freaking series on TV and Netflix about stuff like that.
Yep.
So why all of a sudden, because somebody says they would do it, is that such a big deal? And we joke around. It's funny. One of my favorite jokes of all time, it says, if your ex texts you and asks if you hate her and says how much on a scale of 1 to 10, you say, if the devil, Hitler, and Osama bin Laden were in a room and I had a gun with 2 bullets, I'd shoot you twice. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's okay. Like, it's okay to want to understand why he did what he did. It's okay to say, because he was a military genius. He really was. He was one of the great minds. He was extremely smart when it came to that. But I understand what he stood for was wrong, and I understand what, everything he did with the Holocaust and all that stuff. And he got ultimately, what he deserved. And I just don't understand why people are so damn sensitive.
Right.
It's stupid. Why? Who cares? So the man wants to have dinner with Hitler. So what? You know what? If I sat down and thought about it, if I wanted to sit down and have a conversation with somebody, it would probably, if 3 people, I would also pick my grandfather. I would pick Jackie Robinson. I've said that multiple times. If there's one athlete I could ever sit down and have a conversation with, it'd be Jackie Robinson. And if I could ever a third person, I'd go the same route. It would probably be John Wayne Gacy. Because I'm intrigued by that type of stuff. I watch shows about it all the time. I'm intrigued by the mindset and what possibly could they be thinking about the things that they did, and try to understand what it was. And so I have no problem with that whatsoever. None.
Yeah. So when you first sent me this, like I was actually very intrigued to see what the whole tweet said, just because we know how headlines work. You pick and choose what words you want to make.
Oh, yeah.
You mash them together to make the most clickbaitable title ever. But let me read that whole tweet for you again. He is a military genius, and I love military tactics, but honestly, I would want to pick his brain. Right there, pause. He wants to know why he is the way he is. Exactly what Combs just said, right? He is, like, so, and then secondly, I mean, what is the best way to gain common ground with, like, anybody, right? Combs, let's say I am black and you are white, and we don't agree on Trump, right? Because Trump is the most polarizing figure out there. What is the best way for us to stand each other, like at the end? Sit down and have a civilized conversation about it. Don't have a Twitter beef. Don't like, I mean, because let's just be honest, when it comes to Trump, the go-to thing, if you are a white and you are a Trump supporter, what is everybody going to say? You are a racist. You are a racist, right? So have a civilized conversation about that at the end of the day. Now, should Jonathan Allen apologize? Hell to the no, he like he shouldn't. You guys need to read his full tweet there, just not the parts that people pick and choose to like say he is a military genius and I love military tactics. But honestly, I would want to pick his brain and why he did what he did. Why did he murder all of the Jews? I am also assuming that people that I've chosen has to be answer my question honestly as well. So he just wants to know why he was the way he was, and maybe help the man. Maybe if they sat down and had dinner back in 1942 or whatever it was. I don't know when that shit happened. I'm no history buff. What are you rolling your eyes for? That's when World War II was, right? 1942 wasn't it? Was that when World War II was?
I'm still trying to figure out if I'm really white.
Are you? You are.
So.
You are choosing to be multi-racial, right? But Combs, yeah, I mean, Jonathan Allen definitely has no reason to apologize whatsoever. And the fact that people are being too sensitive, he told you guys in his tweet post that he was going to be honest. He answered the question honestly, how he thought he felt. Bada bing, bada boom. Why are we getting all pissed off about it? Do we want him to give a PG answer?
It's because people just want to be mad about something, and it doesn't matter what it is. And people get triggered about everything, and people feel like for whatever reason nowadays in our society that if there is something you can get offended about, we can just cry about it until it becomes a thing, and then maybe we can get famous because we said it was going to become a thing. Like it's so stupid that people get it. So what? The man wants to sit down and have dinner with Hitler. You know what? Let me find somebody who says they want to sit down and have a dinner with Whoopi Goldberg.
She thought that the Holocaust wasn't racist because it was white crime.
Yeah.
Hey.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, who cares? Like, who cares who he wants to have dinner with? Who cares who anybody wants to sit down and have dinner with? Everybody's mind works differently. Yeah. Everybody's mind works differently. So, you know what? Maybe you don't. But you know what else you could do on Twitter? It's this crazy thing. You can keep freaking scrolling.
Yeah. Or think about this. Let's say Jonathan Allen was the white Jonathan Allen that tweeted this. He would probably be in jail right now for hate crimers or like some shit. I mean,
it would have been a bigger story.
Oh, 100%.
I'm not gonna lie. It would have been a bigger story.
Alpha Rob says that Neil Young is trying to do the same thing with Joe Rogan. Absolutely facts.
Yeah. Neil Young's a clown.
Neil Young is just trying to be relevant again. He's like 97 years old or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
he
even know
pulled
his
his
song.
music from Spotify. You know why you pulled your music from Spotify? Because you had one download in 10 years.
He had 12. I got his whole album. I mean, I'm totally kidding. But guys,
I don't even know who Neil Young is. I thought it was Neil Diamond at first.
Yeah, I don't know who Neil. I know he's Canadian.
There were like 5 artists who pulled their music from Spotify, and I don't know who any of them are.
Neil Young was the most famous, and the only reason why he is famous because we're talking about him right now.
Yeah.
Now, maybe my dad might know who he is, maybe, but hell, my dad's like 60, that old fuck. But Combs, Super Bowl is 4 days away here. We are living that Super Bowl dream right now. We're getting excited. The Rams are taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Rams are a 3.5-point favorite in this game, making the Bengals the underdog again for their 4th straight playoff game, which is a surprise to me. But, Combs,
I just saw Alpha Rob's comment.
What'd he say?
I want to sit down with Leslie Frazier to see what was going through his head in those last 13 seconds.
Oh.
That guy's never going to let it go.
You know what's going to be bad for Alpha Rob? You guys know how you guys made the AFC Championship game 4 years in a row, or like you won the AFC Championship game 4 years in a row to make the Super Bowl, 4 years in a row to lose them all, right? They're going to go.
That man of that.
They are going to go to 4 straight AFC Championship games and lose to everyone.
Oh God!
Then it's going to be the divisional round, and then it's going to be the wild card round. Then maybe you might win a Super Bowl. So about 15 years, you win a Super Bowl. Sorry, Alpha Rob.
Poor guy.
I actually watched that 30 for 30 again, like the 4 falls of Waffle, I think it's called. It's really good, but man, that is heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking.
The fashions that they were losing.
Yeah.
I mean, the wide left was.
Yeah. And wasn't Jim Kelly the quarterback for all those as well?
Yeah.
I mean, and now he's got cancer.
They had a really good team. Thurman Thomas was their running back. Jim Kelly. I mean, they had a great team. I was actually like when they were going to all them Super Bowls. I was in grade school, and I was a Buffalo Bills fan. I was rooting for them every damn year.
That's when I became a Cowboys fan.
Mostly because the Bears were like 2 wins a season back at that point. I can't imagine what Alpha Rob's going. Well, I can. I'm a Bears fan. I can imagine what he's going.
He said it stings still. It definitely stings still. So
I don't blame him.
So, Combs, let's fast forward to Super Bowl 56, not 25 here. Who is the best player in this year's Super Bowl?
Everything wants to point to Aaron Donald, right?
Yes, that's what I'm
That's
thinking.
where all signs. Yep. That's where all signs are pointing. I am going to go with Joe Burrow. Okay. I'm going to go with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, I've watched him throughout these playoffs. I've watched him most of the season. He has got to be the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. He puts passes on a dime. Like, he does not miss his spots very often. He gets sacked a ton. Imagine if he had protection. But he is that guy. And if Cincinnati is going to have any chance, which I think that they do, he is going to have to be the Joe Burrow that he's been and overcome the sacks and do everything that he's done all season long. I think Joe Burrows is the best. Joe Burrow, sorry, I was adding an S to the end of his name. I think cool. Joe Burrow is the best. Is the best player in the Super Bowl.
So, I see your Joe Burrow. I see your Aaron Donald, right? But let's think outside the box here. Why are the Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl, Combs? It's not because of Jamar Chase. It's not because of Joe Burrow. It's Evan Money McPherson, baby. This guy has the most field goals since Adam Vinatieri, over 45 yards in the playoffs. Evan McPherson, or Evan Money McPherson, I think that's what his, they are calling him Mick franchise or something just like that. This guy is the only reason why they are in the Super Bowl right now. Is because of this kid's leg.
I should have known you were going there.
Combs.
I should have known.
How is he not the best player on the team? He has single-handedly carried the Bengals to the Super Bowl on his leg. So he's literally doing it with like one leg. Like, come on, boys, we going to the ship. He's the best. He's the best player, Combs, hands down in my mind. Alpha Rob says, do you guys think the Rams are going to have Ramsey man on Chase?
Well, let's get to the next question, and then I'll get to that.
Okay. Who is your best matchup?
It is going to be Jalen Ramsey versus Jamar Chase. And here's why. I just said Joe Burrow needs to have a good game. In order for him to have a good game, he's going to have to be able to hit Jamar Chase deep a couple of times.
Yeah.
What is Jalen Ramsey known for? Getting burnt deep. Yeah. I mean, he gave up Tom Brady's last touchdown pass of his career on a deep ball. He gets burnt deep a lot, and that's Jamar Chase's specialty. Do I think the Rams are going to have Ramsey man on Chase? If they want to win, they better not. They better not, because Jamar Chase is going to make him look silly.
Yeah.
And I personally, that's the matchup I'm looking most forward to, because if Jamar Chase has a game, the Bengals are going to win this one big.
Ooh.
It's not even going to be close.
Ooh, really? Because
yeah.
I think if you were to man up Chase and Ramsey on the outside, that is giving you a extra guy to bring pressure on the quarterback to Joe Burrow. And the Cincinnati Bengals have one of the worst lines in the NFL, and you already have Von Miller and Aaron Donald up there that are probably going to require a double team 9 times out of 10 up there anyway. So when you bring a linebacker free because you're man to man on the outside, that could be a long day for Joe Burrow. So I would at least man him up like at first, and forced him to try to beat me deep, because I want to pound Aaron Donald into the ground. That 9 sacks that the Titans got, hold my beer. Here comes 18 sacks. I mean, so if they do line up man to man, look for the Rams to bring a lot of pressure on that. But I want to get to one thing before I give you my matchup here. You said Ramsey gave up Tom Brady's last pass. Tom Brady is already kind of recanting his retirement statement, saying never say never on a comeback. So I'm just putting that out there.
You know why I say never on a comeback? Because he's going to sign a 1-day contract with the New England Patriots and retire as a New England Patriot.
We'll see. But my matchup to watch out for, it is on the side, or like it is still a wide receiver cornerback combo here, but it is on the Rams side, and that is going to be Mr. Triple Crown himself, Cooper Kupp versus Mike Hilton. So Mike Hilton will be man to man with Cooper Kupp in the slot when the Bengals decide to go man to man on said formations, and I really look for Sean McVay to exploit this, just because I think Mike Hilton is the worst defender on the Cincinnati Bengals secondary, hands down. Cooper Kupp is a phenomenal route runner there, great hands. He doesn't have great speed because, let's be honest, he's a small white boy from North Dakota or something. I think Combs is faster than like he is, but that is going to be the matchup to watch. If Cooper Kupp gets like 10 catches in the first 3 quarters, it's going to be a very, very long day for Cincinnati, hands down, Combs. So go ahead.
I don't see the Rams blowing out the Bengals, but I can see the Bengals blowing out the Rams. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because the Rams are one of those teams where they'll jump up big. They might get up by 2, maybe even 3 scores, and then they pull their foot off the gas.
Right.
They don't blow teams out because they let teams stay in the game. And the Bengals, if they find a way and they start finding their stroke and they find a way to beat you, they're going to beat you good.
And they've been a second half team all for like the last nine weeks. Second half, they come out and fired on all cylinders. Ever since that Chiefs game in the regular season, they're down, 23-7 or whatever it was. The second half, they come out and won 36-30. So.
Right. And I see Alpha Rob says you don't like the Rams wide receivers versus the Bengals secondary. I do like I like the Rams wide receivers, period.
Right.
But the Bengals have just always been that team this especially this postseason. Tell me, other than the wild card weekend, a time where did anybody pick them versus the Chiefs? I mean, I think we all picked them versus the Raiders, but who'd they play after the Raiders? They went and played the Titans. Very few people picked them against the Titans. I had them against the Titans.
Right.
I definitely did not pick them against the Chiefs. Actually, I did pick them against the Chiefs. That's a lie. But not very many people picked them against the Chiefs. And now nobody is really saying that they're going to have a chance. Everybody's talking about the Rams' defensive line and what they're going to do to the Bengals' offensive line.
Yeah.
Bengals have proved everybody wrong every step of the way.
And on the flip side, we said the same thing about the Chiefs line. And we said the same thing about the Chiefs line too. Like, hey, if the Titans can get 9 sacks, what is Jones and those boys going to do? 0 sacks.
And then think about that too. Even if you do get to them, what does that mean? The Titans got to them 9 times and lost.
Yeah.
So they can still find a way to beat you.
So
they find a way to overcome, and they're not going to get blown out. If the Rams win the Super Bowl, it's going to be a close game.
Yeah. We always talk about the it factor, right? Kobe had it. Michael Jordan has it. The Bengals have it. We don't know what it is, but they have it, right? For whatever they have it. Speaking of having it, CJ Uzma, which hurt his knee versus the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, he actually had a sprained MCL, said he will play in the Super Bowl. Will he even be a factor, Combs?
If he plays, and if he's good enough to play, and actually run routes and actually be himself, yes, he's going to be a factor because he is a big target for Joe Burrow. And he takes a lot of pressure off of Jamar Chase because you have to pay attention to Uzma. I have a hard time believing. I've sprained my MCL before, and it is not fun, man. It is not fun. And to try to play on that, look, you can icy hot it, and the pain will kind of dull up for a little while. And of course, if you've got the adrenaline playing in the Super Bowl, that'll definitely help. But I mean, you're risking doing some real damage. And I get it. I mean, if I'm Uzma, I get it. You may never play another Super Bowl.
True.
Nothing guarantees you're ever going to be back to this point. So I don't blame guys who try to play in this game hurt. I don't know how effective he can be. So if he's good enough to play, and if he can get cleared to play, and if he's not in a ton of pain while he's walking or running and making cuts, which I just can't imagine, yes, he'll be a factor. But if all of that is not true, if he does have trouble making cuts, if he can only run certain routes, if he can only push off and put so much weight on it, he's not going to be a factor at all. He's going to be a smokescreen.
Yeah. Here's the issue that I have here. So 3 things that you said are spot on. One, you never know if you're going to make it back to a Super Bowl, right? So you want to do everything you can to help your team win. I mean, if that's playing hurt, Terrell Owens played with like a broken leg or something just like that, right? So, I mean, you do everything you can to get on the field. He will probably take a shot and have a knee brace on and then adrenaline, right? So he probably won't be feeling too much pain. But that is the issue there, is that I have looked it up here. Thank you, Google. A MCL sprain occurs when there is a direct force applied to the outside of the knee, pushing the knee inward. Do you know what is on the inside of your knees, Combs? It is the ACL. So normally a MCL takes about 6 weeks to heal. It's been two 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half. So he's nowhere close to being healed 100%. Like, I don't care how much medical treatment you have, that there is nothing like time. You know, sometimes it simply just takes time to heal. So when he gets this pain shot, when he's wearing this knee brace, when he probably getting a shot at halftime, right, and then all this adrenaline and stuff off like that, it is very, very likely that he is going to tear his ACL. There's going to be so much pressure on the inside of his knee that the ACL is not going to know what to do with itself. It is kind of like when Combs is laying in bed and 3 girls walk in bare ass naked. He doesn't know what to do with himself because his hand is still on his Peter. He's like, I gotta get done. I don't want to talk to you guys. So
I've got Michelle. I don't ever need 3 girls at one time.
Well, I'm just back in the day. You know what I'm talking about, Combsy. But so just to even say he will be a factor, he is there simply to bring a safety down to get Jamar Chase open. Just because the Rams will not know how healthy he is till after the first drive, because you know you can kind of fake it through pregame, coin toss and like all that crap. But once the game actually starts and you make that first cut, you run that first slant, you make that first slant route cut, and we see how crisp it is. We'll know exactly how healthy he is. So if there is a over under or like a prop bet for Jamar Chase going deep on the first play, give me that prop bet, because that safety is going to calm down, is going to test CJ Uzma, and Jamar Chase is going to be wide open deep.
Yeah, I've got to see it, because like I said, I mean, look, I'm an idiot too, right? Like I play at a very less level than what Uzuma is about to try to play in, but I sprained my MCL once and tried to play in a state softball tournament for men's league, and put icy hot on it and tried playing first base, and it worked until about 4 innings in, when the icy hot wore off.
Right.
And the pain, I'm telling you, the pain, I couldn't even imagine trying to cut on an NFL field playing at this level. Look, I mean, obviously the guy's got better trainers, better doctors, better everything, better painkillers than I ever would have access to. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I'm rooting for the kid.
Yeah, I mean, like I obviously don't wish any will on him whatsoever, because I would probably be doing the same thing, honestly. But he needs to have a woman in his corner and saying, "Hey, if you tear your ACL, you may not ever be on the field again. So you need to think long term here." But he is 27 years old, probably in a contract year. So I don't know. But the biggest factor that we've all been circling around here is Joe Burrow versus Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is the longest first-round pick ever to make it to the Super Bowl, and Joe Burrow is the first overall pick, first one to ever make it to the Super Bowl in his second year. So, who is better in this game, Combs? Are you taking Stafford or Burrow?
Man, I really like Matt Stafford. I really do. I really like what he brings to the table. I think he's the most underrated quarterback in NFL history. I think that he's proven it by, once he finally got out of Detroit during his first season, he's bringing the team to the Super Bowl with a very high-powered offense. But Joe Burrow is the better quarterback in this game. Joe Burrow is the quarterback in this season that has gotten sacked the most. But Matt Stafford is the quarterback in this game who's been intercepted the most in the NFL. And so, as a quarterback, I trust Joe Burrow to be more consistent than I trust Matt Stafford. I trust that Joe Burrow is going to show up and do his thing more than I trust Matt Stafford. So I don't trust that Matt Stafford's not going to make that mistake that's going to cost me the game the way that I trust that Joe Burrow isn't going to make that mistake. Now, Joe Burrow may end up on his can that ends up costing him the game, but he's not going to make that mistake, and Matt Stafford will. So I'm going with Joe Burrow as a better quarterback in this one.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, I kind of feel it's almost like a wash, just because, you know, Matthew Stafford's fault that he has is, you know, it gets made up by the talent that he has around him, right? Because I do think they have a little bit better wide receiver core on the Rams than the Bengals. However, I think we're overlooking the Bengals a lot because they still have T. Higgins, they have Boyd, and they have Jamar Chase, right? 3 really prolific wide receivers. So, I mean, I feel like you can't go wrong either way, but the pressure is on Joe Burrow, because if Joe Burrow doesn't play well, the Cincinnati Bengals obviously don't lose. Matthew Stafford
there's no pressure on Joe Burrow. Are you kidding me?
Well, yeah. Well, like, hear me out. So Joe Burrow has to play a great game for the Cincinnati Bengals to win. Matthew Stafford can play a below average game, or not below average. Let's say average game, a B game, and the Rams can still win. So that is why I'm saying there's more pressure on Joe Burrow, because he knows he has to, you know, play a pretty good game for them to be successful. So who is going to have the better game? It's going to be Joe Burrow, just because I've been saying it all playoff long that Matthew Stafford is a game manager, and that is what the Rams have to do, is they have to manage the game, basically keep Matthew Stafford from himself, you know, doing something stupid, throwing the underhand interception in the end zone crap, right? So Sean McVay has to keep Matthew Stafford away from himself. That's why Joe Burrow will have the better game at the end of the game. So we do agree.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any pressure on Matt Stafford in this game, though. I think he goes in loose as hell, because you weren't even supposed to be here.
Wait, really? Because
they weren't supposed to be here. Come on now.
Once that trade with Matthew Stafford happened, everybody was talking Super Bowl. It's like Super Bowl or bust.
That's why there's more pressure on Matthew Stafford.
You just said there was no pressure. He's going to come in there.
I said there's no pressure on Joe Burrow.
Okay. I thought you said there's no pressure on Matthew Stafford. He's going to come in there.
No, there's way more pressure on Matthew Stafford.
Okay. I agree. I mean, we kind of, so when we do see the pressure of the game, Matthew Stafford is underneath the more pressures too beastie here. So, but is Matthew Stafford going to be the easiest player to root for in this game?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm okay with whoever wins this game. I really am.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to see a really good game. Like, I want to see the best Super Bowl we've ever seen. Like, something like, I want the Rams to go up 47-0, and I want the Bengals to come back and win 51-47. Like, I just want to see something crazy and something incredible happen. But if Matt Stafford is so easy to root for. You've got to. I don't think there could be anybody rooting against this guy. I really don't. Like, how could you be rooting against Matthew Stafford's heading into this game? Matthew Stafford had to waste his career in Detroit in that cesspool.
He didn't have to. He chose
Detroit.
to. Come on now.
He was stuck drinking that nasty Detroit water out of Flint. Like, he was just, I mean, he was stuck in a terrible organization, and he was a great quarterback, and he's proven it since he's left Detroit. And to not be able to root for this guy, I'd have to check your pulse.
Yeah, to be 100% honest here, when you look at these rosters, I think there's only one player that you cannot root for, and I think you know exactly where I'm going
OBJ.
with this here. Exactly. Like, that's the one player that I don't want to win, just because I dislike his freaking attitude. I dislike what his dad did. I dislike what he did in the Giants in Cleveland, right? And kind of forced his way out. But I mean, just like you, like I want a good game, And like, I mean, even if you look at the fan bases here, like, do like Cincinnati Bengals fans really care? Like, I mean, like, obviously they want their team to win, right? But like, they won't be rooting against Matthew Stafford, right? And Rams fans won't be rooting against Joe Burrow, because they are very likable guys. But if I had to pick a player to root for, I'm going to pick Matthew Stafford, just because like I think Joe Burrow will be there again. I think the Cincinnati Bengals have built a really, really good team. They have a good coaching staff in place there, and but then that means OBJ is going to win, and just I don't know, but
yeah,
I mean, I'm rooting for Matthew Stafford. I like Cam Akers, even though people were trying to dog him for like saying the boy stay down when he broke his neck or something. I don't know. I mean, just like all that stuff's stupid, but yeah,
right.
I'm rooting for Stafford.
I see. Why don't you read Alpha Rob's comment there? The last one.
Yeah. So like, so Alpha Rob says, I don't know. Pressure is on Stafford because he could be back in the Super Bowl next year because the NFC is not that good with Brady gone. Who else do you have in the AFC? Packers are still there. Cowboys are still there. Still have the Arizona Cardinals. You still have Kyler Murray. That's still a Cardinal as of right now, right?
Yep, San Francisco will probably have a better quarterback next year, so there's
right.
somebody you need to watch for. You've got two teams in your own division you got to watch for. New Orleans Saints are going to be there. The New Orleans Saints with a full year of Jameis Winston are going to be there. Jameis Winston is going to light it up. He's going to be the MVP next year. You got the Green Bay Packers, if they can retain Aaron Rodgers, are there. Buck will pick the Lions to be 19-0 next year. And then we've got the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders, because we all know they're going to sit down, have dinner with Hitler, and they're going to the Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, and let's be honest, Torrey Anderson sat right here on the Man Hour with a healthy Fitzpatrick, had them going 13-4 this year, right? So
yeah, that was as good as your Lions pick.
But also,
actually, it was better than your Lions pick because they won more games. But
in Torrey's defense, Fitzpatrick did go down week 1, right? And so they had a starter in there that is really unproven. Besides that one playoff game, he had a great half versus the Bucs. Then we don't know anything about him. But the Commanders' defense is great, probably top 5 easily. So I mean, watch
maybe
out
if they get
them.
a new owner.
Probably not. So guys, we have not taken a break yet. I gotta take a piss. I'm not even gonna lie. So
I was just gonna say we needed to because I gotta pee.
Yeah. So guys, we are gonna go drain the lizard or whatever they call it. But guys, we'll be right back here on the Man Hour. Stay tuned. Sit back, relax, enjoy this break.
Hey gang, it's Commissioner Cooper from TSS Fantasy. We are the fantasy show of the people.
Good call, Combs.
That means we give the people what they want. Expert fantasy advice, leading medical and legal analysis, free contests, and innovative games to keep you entertained. Watch us live with the Tiki Live app on the Belly Up Sports channel, subscribe to us on YouTube, or follow us on all social media platforms. Visit TSSFantasy.com today for all the latest updates from the fantasy show of the people. We put the fun in fantasy.
Yeah! I use mayo over sour cream, yeah.
Right. That's because you have high cholesterol. Okay. If you drafted Julio Jones,
you got ghosted.
This is amazing. TSS Fantasy is like an orgasm. If I had a cigarette, I'd smoke it. I'm pumped to be here. This is the show of shows.
TSS Fantasy, the fantasy show of the people.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain, I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints, money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague, we all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name, all our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be, living in a time where disease is on every screen, I won't let them mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quite so thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic, you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic. Go! To last with the webs I'm weaving, I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckeyes with Brandon Combs. We are free to add more liquor into our belly now that we have gone to the restroom, and hopefully you guys have gone to the restroom as well. But during the break there, we did have some comments come across the board here, and my man over here on youtube.com/Man Hour says the AFC is deep with good quarterbacks. The NFC has Dak. Do you think Dak is better than any of the top quarterbacks in the AFC? Combs, I'll let you have the floor first.
Hell no.
Say that again for the people in the back.
Hell no. Dak, no. Dak's not even better than the top quarterbacks in the NFC.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
So we talk about game managers all the time, and I think we have put Dak in this elite category when he is just a game manager like himself. Now it could be coaching, it could be a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but Dak has really never lived up to the hype that, you know, what he's $100 million man now, right? So with that being said, the Cowboys have what, $300 million guys now. Their window to win is right now, because if they don't do it in the next 3 years, they can't afford CeeDee Lamb. They can't afford Tony Pollard, right? So Dak is not better than anybody in the AFC. Like,
Dak is better than Tua.
I wouldn't even give him that, honestly. Like,
he's better than Tua.
I mean, like,
come on now.
I'm a Dakota Prescott guy, but I just think the Cowboys just aren't good for him. Maybe he needs to go to someplace like Green Bay, or.
Well, the question is he better on the Cowboys? Is he a better quarterback?
He is better on a different team. If Dak were to go to any of these top quarterback teams, I'm talking like
Luke G.
So let's say Dak goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. He is better than Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, stop. Come on now.
What? Dakota Prescott on. If you put him on the Buffalo Bills, he's better than Josh Allen.
Stop calling him Dakota. You're not cool. Stop calling him Dakota.
He's my boy. No. If you would have put him on the San Francisco 49ers, I think he is a top 5 quarterback in the league. Right now, you're probably looking at top 10, maybe just outside. But Luke G says, what did Buck just say? I said, if you put Dak Prescott on the Kansas City Chiefs, he's better than Patrick Mahomes on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Luke G, look, I have to apologize to you, by the way, too. Yesterday I got hung up with work stuff. I did not get I didn't even see my Twitter until right before we hopped on the show here. So I did not get that link out to you. I did not do a show. I did not inform you quick enough, so I apologize for that. But
it's because he was sitting down having dinner with Hitler. Let's just be honest.
That's true. Hey, so Dak is better than a lot of quarterbacks. You're sort of correct, right? Because, you know, if by a lot of quarterbacks you mean that he is better than the Jets quarterback, whoever that might be this week. If you
that's
say
Mr.
That
Matt Mark Long Neck Goxon or whatever his name is, right?
If you say that he's better than any of the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterbacks, that's correct. Now that Ben Roethlisberger's gone, he's better than Baker Mayfield. He's better than anything that they have in the AFC South.
Baker Mayfield gets a bad rap. Come on, baby.
Stop. He's better than you know.
So he's better than half the league is what you're saying, right?
No, I named 2 teams, 3 teams in the AFC East and North. He's better than all the quarterbacks in the AFC South. He's not better than any of the quarterbacks in the AFC West. He's the best quarterback in the NFC East.
Whoa, wait a minute. You say he's not better than anybody in the AFC West. He's better than Teddy Bridgewater. Get out of here with that.
He's better. He's better than Justin Fields right now. I'll give him that. He's better than anything the Detroit Lions have to throw at you.
Hey,
Sorry, Luke G. But
Jared Goff's not bad. You guys need to stop giving him such a bad rap. Top 10.
Poor Jared Goff. What is it about the Lions, man? I said this to Luke G the other night. How the Lions, right, going to talk about anything about, we needed this or we needed that. You had a quarterback in Matt Stafford who you let go, and in his first season after letting him go, he's like, oh, thank God, and now he's in the Super Bowl.
Do you know why the Lions are cursed?
You had the same quarterback who was taking the Rams to the playoffs and to the Super Bowl over and over and over again, and now he won 3 games.
So, quick question, or quick statement. Do you know why the Lions are cursed? Do you want to really know why?
Because you keep picking them?
No. It's because they fired a coach for making the playoffs. That's why they're cursed. I mean, think about that. They made the playoffs. They fired the coach. They haven't won 5 games in a season since.
Hey, look, I want to put out a memo to the bad teams in the NFL that want to stay bad. If you're going to pay somebody $100,000 to lose games for you, hire me.
Yeah.
Hire me, because I won't even have to try.
Either with Adam Gase, right?
I won't have to try. I will just lose games.
Oh.
Luke G says Caldwell should have been fired.
What? Why? Did
He did.
He led them to 3 playoff berths, right? And they were above 500. Why do you need to get fired? I mean, I got on the stats in front of me.
Don't make Luke G preach to you. Luke G, you want the link? I'll send you the link right now. You want to come preach?
So
I'll let you talk to Buck.
What we need to preach about here is Drew is spot on here. Combs. Drew is spot on. He says Dak Prescott equals Ryan Tannehill. Guys, I love Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill is a top 12 quarterback in the NFL. So that makes Dak Prescott even a top 11, top 10 quarterback. So, Drew, you are spot on. Ryan Tannehill gets better every year. So that means Dak gets better every year. But this time next year, the Cowboys are in the Super Bowl, baby. You know that. Super Bowl. Here it is. Super Bowl, baby. These 2 teams right here. Chiefs versus Cowboys.
Did you just say Ryan Tannehill is a top 12 quarterback in the league?
Yes.
You really just said that right now.
Look what he did without King Henry, right? The kings of all kings. He literally took that team, put it on his back.
I can't.
He says, "Let's go, baby. Let's go to the playoffs." And what happened? King Henry come back. They shit the bed. If King Henry wouldn't have played, the Titans would have probably been in the Super Bowl.
I don't even know what to say right now.
Hoffy says, "Shut the F up. Tannehill sucks. Big F and D's nuts."
He's 110% correct.
You guys are absolutely wrong. There are 3 quarterbacks that you guys are overlooking in this entire league, and that is Ryan Tannehill, Andy Dalton, and Jared Goff, all top 15 quarterbacks in the league. You guys are stupid.
Fuck. Well, Ryan Tannehill is like the guy didn't even have a 90 passer rating this season.
Combs, send Luke the link.
I did. He had 2 games this season where he threw for 300 yards.
Okay. He is not a 300-yard type of guy, my man. Slow it down, baby.
He's a terrible quarterback.
He is not terrible. The only reason
Dak Prescott is on the Tennessee Titans are in the Super Bowl this year.
So, like I said, Dak Prescott is a step or 2 above Ryan Tannehill. You are correct. But the reason why Ryan Tannehill gets such a bad rap is because Adam freaking Gase was his head coach in Miami for 2 years or 3 years or whatever it was.
Dude, how?
Have a good night, Hoffy.
Note, I'm out. Have a great night.
Middle's open, baby. Hey,
Oh,
hashtag
God.
refs.
He's still mad at you for that Brady shit.
What?
When you said that,
That he's a game manager? Those are
yeah.
facts, baby. Those are facts. Luke G even said it. So, Hoffy, if you're still here, stay around. If Luke G jumps on here, he will have my back on that. I guarantee it.
We cannot, dude.
I guarantee it.
I can't have a heart attack tonight.
Why? You can call in sick tomorrow and go to work on Monday. You'll be fine. But, like, who is better than Ryan Tannehill? I mean, because look what let's look at this broad circle here, okay? Let's bring on Luke G just because we are great people here. And Luke, can you hear us, my man?
I can hear y'all, man.
Okay.
First, I'm having fun. I'm listening.
Yeah.
I was trying to just let it ride. You've been in rare form tonight, Buck. But
I'm always
Tom
in
Brady.
great form.
Tom Brady is the greatest game manager of all time.
Hear that, Hoffy?
Stop.
He's the greatest game manager of all time. I don't know why we fight this. I don't know why we challenge this, but that's exactly what he is. He's a game manager, and if you go through and you look at the best wins he's had, they've come on the leg of Adam Vinatieri. They've come in a time where he's allowed to manage the game, and that's great. But he single-handedly is the greatest game manager that I have ever seen in my entire life, and that's not a negative. That's a good thing. I don't know why we act as though that's a negative. It's a very good thing, and we should praise him for that. But Dak Prescott come to the Lions will turn into Geno Smith. He wouldn't know what to do with adversity. He wouldn't know what to do with not having a supporting cast. Dak Prescott was at his best when they were a run-first team and running efficiently. Now they're trying to lean on him, and that's where it's starting to become a little shaky. Is he equal to Ryan Tannehill? No. I mean, if you were taking LSD, sure he would be. I mean, to everyone, right? But no, it's not. It's not like that. And yes, I am one of the people that believe that Jim Caldwell should have been fired, and I'm also one of the ones that believe that Brian Flores should have been fired. So, because Brian Flores shares the same thing to me that Jim Caldwell shared, and that is they didn't beat anybody. They just didn't beat anybody. And the Lions' biggest problem has been the same thing consistently for years. People have always questioned, it's ownership. Nope. It's the general manager. Nope. It's you don't got players. I think we're in the top 3 or top 5 in Hall of Fame players. So nope, definitely not that problem. The Lions' problem is they've never had a legitimate coach. And that's the problem. If you look at these teams, they have legitimate coaches. They built through the draft and have legitimate coaches to coach the talent that they have, and they coach to the talent. If you look at the Lions, they
off the legs of his kickers. Okay,
not all
I'll
of
give you the.
I'll give the Super Bowl.
Okay, so let's talk about the Super Bowls then, right? Let's talk about the Super Bowls. The first Super Bowl they did win on the Adam Vinatieri game-winning 48-yard field goal that Tom Brady got him into position for.
How many?
Right?
How many? Wait, hold on. How many off of that kick?
48 yards.
Oh yeah, that's getting great position. Go ahead, keep going.
Okay, so then the second Super Bowl he was 32 of 48, 354 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
The next Super Bowl against the Eagles when they beat the Eagles.
Go back. They won the second one, I believe, on a kick too.
They did.
Yeah.
Brady had 1 minute when he got the ball back with the game tied 29-29, and he put Vinatieri in position for another buzzer beater, and that was a 43-yard field goal.
Oh yeah, great position. Great. Keep going.
He had 1 minute.
Keep going. I haven't.
How about 24? How about his third Super Bowl where he beat the Eagles 24-21, 23 for 33 passing, 236 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a 110.2 quarterback rating.
And how did that game? Didn't that game end on a kick too?
It did not.
Okay, because I know he had. He had 3 or 4 of those games in on kick. But
so then let's go to this next Super Bowl. They lost 17-14 to the Giants. This was the 19-1 or 18-1 season. 29-48, 266 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He didn't have a great game that game. The Giants shut him down.
No, hold on. Wait. The Giants shut down the great Tom Brady with that team.
They had a really good defense. They had a great defense. Well, they had a really good defense that was hurt all season long.
But we're talking about the great Tom Brady here. We already seen that, he's setting his kickers up for 40-something-yard field goals. Let's keep going.
Okay. All right. So let's go to the Patriots versus the Seahawks in Super Bowl 49. 37-50, 328 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 101.1 rating. Super Bowl MVP.
What's the final score on that game?
28-24. It ended on the interception at the 1-yard line.
Yeah, so let's see. So now we're talking about a guy who you say did all these things, started the game off slow, and because the head coach of the Seahawks didn't want to pay a running back, he refused to run on the 1-yard line. So I mean, the fortune is there. The fortune is so great, but keep going.
So I'm talking about but Tom Brady has nothing to do with the defense or with the other team's offense. No. He was 37-50 for 328 yards and 4 touchdowns. But that's definitely a game manager. How about the comeback when they're down?
Hold on. Let's go to the halftime on the score. Go to the halftime on that score. Because when you look at the halftime, when you look at the halftime scores on those games, they're not going into it with these big leads. They're walking in barely.
Okay.
Barely with a lead.
You want to talk about barely having it. How about against the Falcons when they're down 28-3? He finishes that game 43 for 62, 466 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Okay. But hold on. But did he really win that game, or did the Falcons really lose it? Let's be honest.
Oh, okay.
I mean, listen. Who runs the ball? Who runs the ball in 2 quarters 4 times? Who does that?
How about Super Bowl? How about Super Bowl 52, where he's 28-48, 505 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a 115.4 quarterback rating?
If any other quarterback was 28 or 48, then people be talking about he did.
For 505 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions? You're reaching. You are reaching, and I'm destroying your argument right here.
Okay, so wait. What was the final score
You're
in that
reaching.
game? What was the final score in that game?
Eagles won 41-33.
Oh.
So wait, hold on. So you're hyping up a guy who had this great game and they took an L. I got it. Keep going.
What I'm telling you is that to call him a game manager,
he is.
You're talking about games that he lost about.
No.
Your argument is that he's a game manager. In his Super Bowl stats, he's 6-3. Well, he's 7-3. Sorry, 2,838 passing yards, 256 completions, and 392 attempts. 18 touchdowns and 6 interceptions.
I think all that would sound good if we were accountants, but we're not. And
my God!
And you have to look at this part of it, right? If you go back to that game you were just talking about, didn't they throw him a real simple pass that would have set him up for a real nice go-ahead touchdown, and he just couldn't grab it. And in that game, he missed a wide open risk. I'm just leaving it alone because I know that there's a love for Tom Brady, but the reality is this. Even when you go through and look at the games that he lost and versus the games that he won, he has always somehow won games either on the foot of the kicker or by the misfortunes of a team just basically beating themselves. Let's just keep it honest. The Falcons should have won that game, and they shot themselves in the foot by refusing to do what they needed to do in the beginning, and that's why they took the L. And once that happened, the ball got rolling. Tom Brady has got to be the most fortunate person I've ever seen. However, I don't take anything from him because I understand what he is. He's a game manager. It ain't when he left New England, everybody went, "Oh my God, he left New England." Blah blah blah. Yeah, you went to the Bucs, a team that's already loaded with another good head coach. You didn't go to the Detroit Lions. You didn't go to the Houston Texans. You didn't go to the Miami Dolphins. You went to the Bucs, a team loaded with talent. And guess what? You won that Super Bowl, as you should. and it was won convincingly, right? But guess what? Go and look at him in those years. He struggled in a lot of games and a lot of times where he was getting upset with other players and other things like that. It was simply the fact that, guess what? It wasn't going the way that he wanted it. And the reality is he's still a game manager. I haven't heard you yet tell me about the game-winning touchdown he had in any of those games. I haven't heard you tell me about how he got up to this huge lead at halftime. Where's those games at? They don't exist because he's a game manager. And I hate to say it, but it's the truth.
Let me ask you a question. Okay, let's look at his. You want to talk about the games that he lost, right? Let me ask you a question. So the game 17-14 versus the Patriots, or versus the Giants, I should say. How many of those points, those 17 points, did Tom Brady let up?
How many of those points? The great Tom Brady only got 14 points in the game. We can spin it and try to put it off on the defense, but any defense that holds a team to 17 points wins. Look at the average.
So you don't give any credit to that Giants defense, that great Giants defense that had 3 Hall of Famers on that defense.
This is the same team that snuck into the playoffs. They had to win their final game
because they were injured all season long. They didn't get healthy till week 11 that season.
The difference is this, though. The difference is this. Even in the game that you talk about 17-14. We just criticized the hell out of Aaron Rodgers for not being able to get more points and losing to the Bengals. Why are we going to stop there? Let's keep going with Tom Brady. 14 points? 14 points?
Refs are throwing flags in the comment section, by the way.
I'm just saying, 14 points? I mean, I don't know. 14. That's the number.
So Combs.
Here's a number for you: 7-3 in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
10 Super Bowl appearances. 7 Super Bowl rings.
Okay. So Combs.
There's a number for you.
He is not trying.
How many of those rings won by a kick though?
At least 4 or 5.
Let me ask you a question. If Tom Brady doesn't run those drives and get the field goal kicker within his range, does the kicker have a chance to kick the game-winning field goal?
Let me tell you this.
48-43. Woohoo! That is a chip shot. Come on, Combs.
Oh my God!
You a Bears fan? God. You seen what winning looks like. Stop acting like this. You know that is not a chip shot kick, especially during that time.
Oh, double doink. Shots fired there.
This is coming from a Lions fan. You've won like 3 games in 9 seasons, and you want to come at me about a double doink? Hey, Luke G, you know what? We lost in a double doink in the playoffs. When was the last time your Lions even touched the playoffs? I'll wait.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, but the problem is here. We're not talking about the Lions. We weren't talking about
the Bears either.
No. What I said is you're a Bears fan, so you're used to winning. So, for example, you can go back through the years during the Bears run where they had the Bears and all that stuff with McMahon and Peyton and stuff. And let's be honest. Wasn't nobody out there talking about McMahon was winning those games. No, nobody was ever giving him credit. They still not giving McMahon the credit. They accredit everything else. They'll accredit Refrigerator Perry. They'll accredit Walter Payton. Hell, they'll accredit you for showing up to make noise. But nobody was saying that, man, we won these games because of the great McMahon. That never happened. With Tom Brady has been so fortunate in so many ways. And it started after that strange tuck rule in what, in my opinion, should have been a fumble, but we're going to leave it alone. The rule was the rule. And I'm just saying, at that point, I felt like he went to a voodoo doctor and got some shaman or somebody to show up and put some luck out there, because I'm telling you, they were kicking long kick. I think the shortest kick that ever happened in the Super Bowl where he won was like 34 yards. That was the shortest. Everything else was freaking far. It wasn't a chip shot. And if that happened to anybody else, we wouldn't be saying it. But we just look at the 7 Super Bowls, and he's got 7 Super Bowls. Well, you know what? Charles Haley got 7 Super Bowls or 8 or whatever the hell the number is.
If you want to talk about a clock manager, you're talking about a guy like Alex Smith.
Not
right?
Clock manager, game manager.
Okay, game manager. You want to talk about game manager? You're talking about Alex Smith, right? People will say he's the greatest game managing quarterback that there ever was because he was.
I've
Alex
said
Smith
that
was a great.
Alex Smith is a player that will not win you a lot of games, but he will not lose you games either.
Correct, but he's not a great
game manager like Alex Smith does not throw for 4,000 yards because he's a game manager.
Go tell Dak that.
Go tell Dak what?
He's another game manager who has succeeded and has good numbers based on his game manager skills. Go look at the numbers. They ran the ball. That is true. They ran the ball to high heaven, and he had great numbers because they ran the ball. And people, and at one point he had this record where it was like if he threw the ball 29 times, they lost.
You're proving my point again. So a game manager does not throw the ball for 4,000 yards. Because Dak's done it. Dak's done it once in his career, and if he did it this year, it's twice in his career. I don't know if he did, but he had done it once in his career up until this season. Okay,
well, game managers do throw 4,000 yards. And
no, they don't. Name me a game. Name me a game manager who throws for 4,000 yards.
I'll tell you why game managers throw for 4,000 yards. Because now the way that the NFL is set up, the numbers are automatically inflated. Like for example, like now you have quarterbacks who are throwing 5
game
yards.
Game managing isn't passing the ball all over the place to throw for 4,000 or 5,000 yards in a season. And Tom Brady did it over 16 times in his 22-year career.
But you're not understanding it. If you're passing the ball more. Which the league is, they're passing the ball more, even though I don't think it's a passing league. I think
that's not game management, though.
But it is game management. I'm going to tell you why. The game management comes in play when you start to look at it and say, okay, if, like, for example, let's go back to the Jimmy Garoppolo 49ers. He threw that ball like 5 yards to Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel went for like freaking 50 or 60 yards. Why does all them yards get attributed to the quarterback? Yeah. Why not give them the yards that they actually threw the damn ball? See, they started adding that stuff onto him because they knew that a lot of those records that were set by real people who had to throw the ball back in the day was never going to get broke. It was never going to. Nobody's going to break.
Come on, you don't think that yards after catch was counted as passing yards before?
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't. Back in the day, the distances you threw the ball was the distance you threw the damn ball. If you threw it 10 yards, you threw a 10-yard pass. Now, what they did was the NFL went back and looked at those passes and how far they went and tried to adjust to help those numbers get inflated. But before then, if you threw the ball 5 or 10 or 15 yards, you threw a 15-yard pass. If the receiver takes it another 45, 50, that went to the receiver, not the quarterback. But in today's NFL...
So did he get receiving yards or did he get running yards after the catch?
He got receiving yards.
Why receiving? It was only a 10-yard reception, and then he broke 3 tackles and ran. That's not a receiving yard.
Who are you talking about, the receiver or the quarterback?
Yeah, the receiver.
Because the receiver still got to catch the ball. It's thrown.
But those aren't receiving yards. He didn't catch a pass 40 yards down the field. He caught a pass 10 yards down the field and then ran the rest of the way. So the rest of it should have just been running yards.
Combs, you realize that the key word in there is that he caught a pass, right? Like that's
right.
The key
but he
word.
caught right. But who threw the pass?
I don't care who threw the pass. It went 5 yards.
But what do you?
5 yards.
But that's what I'm saying. You can't say, oh well, these count for the receiver, but they don't count for the quarterback. These are receiving yards and not rushing or running yards or whatever the hell you want to call them.
You know why I can say it? Because if you took, I put it like this: if you took the actual yards that they threw the ball, you would see that a lot of these quarterbacks' numbers would be different. Stafford's numbers would be different.
Of course, they'd be different. Everybody's numbers would be different.
So now, what I'm saying to you is just look at it from this standpoint. If the receiver catches the ball and goes ham with it, he got the ball. He had to still catch it.
So what's that? So to you, basically, that the stats of a quarterback. You throw all of them out the window. Like you don't like quarterbacks for some reason.
That's not true.
What do you mean? Because what stat counts? Like what stat to you? What jumps out to you that says, hey, that this makes a great quarterback? Is it passer rating? Is it like I don't understand. Is it completion percentage? What is it?
For me, it's the type of throws. I'm not huge on stats. I don't care about the stats like that. The stats to me are misleading in a lot of cases. And the reason I say that is because I see too often where people are getting stats for stuff, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, why did that not account? Like, for example, they'll give an offensive lineman a stat of saying, oh, he gave up 4 sacks. But they're not going to put it in context and say, well, that's because the quarterback held onto the ball and ran into the sack. They're not going to do that.
Yep.
And they do. And so that's why I look at what actually happened in games. And I'm telling you, as a Tom Brady fan, he's a game manager. It's just, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. He's a game manager. You can't find me a game. The only game you can show me right now where they won convincingly was when he's with the Buccaneers. And mind you, while people sit up here and try to act as though Stafford now has a super team, that was a super team.
They were destroying teams that year that they were 16-0 and finished 18-1.
I know.
They were destroying teams that season.
And got to the Super Bowl, and what happened?
Hey, didn't you say that the Giants had 3 Hall of Famers on the Super Bowl team that they beat the Buccaneers when they're 18-1, right? The Patriots have 5 Hall of Famers that are going to be on the Patriots defense on that particular team.
They held the team to 17 points. What are you talking about? Yeah, they had a great defense.
I'm just saying.
You're right. They had a really good defense. What are you talking about?
We can't say they had a great defense. I mean, they made it as a wild card.
Because again, they didn't have their defense until after week 11. Strahan was out for like 5 weeks that season. Mm-hmm. They half of their what was the other guy? The guy who blew his damn fingers off playing with fireworks. JPP. He was out for like 4 or 5 weeks that season as well. Yeah,
which plays for Tom Brady now with the Bucs, right?
I'm just merely pointing out that when you look at these games, you really got to look at it. You talking about a team that went undefeated, that had Randy freaking Moss on there, and the only difference was this: a lot of the things that they were calling and stuff like that, Tom Brady was doing his regular progressions and doing whatever he was doing, but sometimes he took too long and they got to him. It is what it is, and the reality is, pardon me. The reality is this: when you look at the games in themselves, there's not, like, for example, I'll give you a perfect example. The Buccaneers with Brad Johnson had more of a blowout win than any game that ever occurred under the Patriots with Tom Brady.
Wow.
With Brad Johnson.
The
game wasn't even close at halftime, I don't even think. But if I recall right, it wasn't even close. All of the games that Tom Brady's been in the Super Bowl have been close. And other teams have failed to do their job. Like, let's be honest. Who in the hell really thought that the Seahawks was getting ready to lose that game when they got down to the 1 yard line after Marshawn Lynch went full beast mode and is ready for the next carry? Who was stopping him? Really?
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll did because he didn't want to pay him. He figured, well, I have the great Russell Wilson, but Russell Wilson, and I say this about Russell Wilson, and people get mad. Russell Wilson hasn't won diddly squat without a rushing attack. Nothing, nada. He can't carry it by himself. No quarterback can. And when you look at Tom Brady always had a rushing attack in the defense at the playoff time, and then they get to Super Bowl and try to play let's pass, and they lose, and that's why they kept losing to the Giants. They should have lost to the Falcons. They should have lost to the Seattle Seahawks. And that's the truth. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's the truth. And I love Tom Brady. But he's a game manager. And the evidence showed it. A 48-yard field goal. Hell, I'm not even confident that kickers can make 48 yards today. They're missing 25-yarders.
Yeah, they're missing PATs left and right.
I mean, I think the Green Bay Packers missed an extra point or some type of close chip shot kick.
Yep.
And the list goes on. And even in that game that just happened with the Rams, and everybody want to act like they would have lost if that safety got a interception. Like it wasn't 10 minutes on the clock. And the kicker missed a field goal earlier. So 48 yards is not a chip shot. 43 yards is not a chip shot. And they're talking about doinkers, double doinkers. The Lions know it all too well. It happened in a game against the Ravens where the longest kick was like 60-something yards and it hit the goal post and flew over. So I've seen the kicks. I get it. But when I start to see teams that say that they're great, show me them games where Joe Montana was like at halftime and at the end of the game where it's super close. No, they were putting teams away.
Come on. First of all, it was a different time. Joe, tell me a time where Tom Brady, like Joe Montana, had a Hall of Fame running back at the same time that he had 2 Hall of Fame wide receivers, at the same time where they had a great offensive line, and there was not a team in the league that was even close to what they're doing because they were running a revolutionary offense that changed the NFL.
When he had Corey Dillon, what's the other receiver name? You gonna say he's not a Hall of Famer? He's not. What is? You can take him out. I'll take him out. You can take him out.
No, go ahead. You can count Corey
him.
Dillon if you want.
I mean, he also the backup running back at that time, if I'm not mistaken, was it Martin? No, was it Martin?
Yeah, it was Curtis Martin. Yep.
Curtis Martin. Yeah. Remember that guy? That
Yeah, he was 112 years old, and
I know
in running back years when he played for the Patriots. Yeah,
but yet somehow was still productive and somehow still showed that he can run the ball. Not to mention they had that guy that they had that tight ends, them tight ends. You know what I'm talking about? Oh no, wait. You know what? That was a different dude. That was
they didn't have them till later.
Yeah, that's the other big tight end they had. What's his damn name? It's gonna come to me.
Ben Coates.
It's gonna come to me.
Ben Coates.
Yeah, they had that. Yeah. And then
You're gonna tell me Ben Coates is a Hall of Famer now?
I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer. I'm telling you that they had players that contribute to him having success. And
I'm talking about the play like Joe Montana played with the greatest wide receiver of all time.
Okay.
True.
Oh no. So did Tom Brady. He played with Randy Moss.
And I was just gonna say that.
And he threw for 50 touchdowns that year. Show me a time in Joe Montana's career where he threw for 50 touchdowns when he had a Hall of Fame wide receiver. He played his entire career with a Hall of Fame wide receiver, and he never threw for 50 touchdowns.
You know why?
Oh, because he wasn't a game manager.
No, it's not. No. It's
different time, like you said.
It's because it's a different time, and two, they wasn't passing it as much back then. At that point,
so now we're going to count that it was a different time. But when it doesn't support your argument, we're not going to count that it was a different time.
No.
Okay, I get it. I get it.
No. What I'm pointing out to you is this. I counted that it was a different time, and I even gave it to you by saying, look, this is what it is. Because back in the day, you wouldn't have got those yards. So I agreed with you in a different time when you said it. But where we part ways at on is the fact that when you look at those two quarterbacks, they wasn't passing the ball a lot back then. They was running the ball. They had running backs that can run the ball. And in fact, go through and look at Kelly in the Buffalo Bills. They had Thurman Thomas and the other dude. I'm drawing a blank on his damn name.
I think we have to stop the game right now because Rule the Jungle is about to eject you. I think he threw like 7 flags in a matter of 3 seconds. He said, "Flag." I love when Burrow gets 466 passing yards, only throws for 10. He says, "Flag, too soon on the call, coach."
I'm just saying. Listen. I'm just saying, like even when you look at the actual yards that a person throw, if I were to go back and adjust it to that, and that's why they started doing those and they adjusted stats, those numbers get real shaky. And I'm just pointing out to you that a lot of these big number games that you're seeing are games that are occurring when the receiver is doing all the work afterwards. It's just happening.
Prime example, Kansas City Chiefs when they run that little shovel pass to Tyreek Hill behind the line of scrimmage.
What do you think Joe Montana was doing to Jerry Rice?
Throwing it.
Yeah. Joe Montana's a great quarterback.
You don't think Joe Montana's numbers are significantly diminished if you don't count the yards after the catch by guys like that he had with Brown and with Rice and all the guys that he was throwing to? You don't think that?
Okay. You know what I find intriguing though about all of this, as we try to go through and justify what Tom Brady is or isn't, we keep forgetting the most important factor of it all is that Tom Brady was on a team that had a quarterback named Matt Castle that still won 11 games. Tom Brady is on a team that had a quarterback named Jacoby Brissett who won at least 9 or 10 games. They've had winning seasons with other quarterbacks. And the idea is that, he's getting into the Super Bowl. No, they had defenses in the run game that did it. And now what happens is the running backs that they're bringing in are dying in the water. They're not staying healthy, and they're not able to run the ball in those playoffs, and they're losing those games. And that's the reality.
I'm sorry, but the defense isn't throwing for 50 touchdowns in a season. The defense isn't throwing for 5,000 yards or 4,000 yards.
Also, though, the rules have changed those to allow that, though, too. If you think about that,
you can't even touch the receivers.
Yeah,
touch a receiver and see what happens. You're liable to go to jail longer than touching a child.
And Alvin Kamara's about to.
Yeah, like come on,
too
man.
soon.
Like, it's so much. You can't do it. You just can't do it.
At least Alvin Kamara went to the Pro Bowl and hit someone.
I'm not gonna laugh at that, but it's funny.
You just did.
Okay, so I pulled up Jerry's right stats here per Pro Football Reference here. 1985 was his first year. So he had 927 yards catching. Scrimmage yards, he had 953. So he only had 20 yards or so after catch, just after that. And it is staggering that he only has, the biggest yard after catch, the yak, per a season here. One season he had 500 total yak yards.
Yeah.
So that's not that much.
In an offense, in the West Coast offense that was revolutionized with the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, this was an offense that nobody had seen come into the NFL. That's why they said the Niners were winning Super Bowl after Super Bowl. This was just a high-powered passing offense. You know how many times Joe Montana threw for 4,000 yards in his career? 0.
Let me ask you a question.
0.
Let me ask you a question. You say Jerry Rice is the greatest receiver of all time, right?
Yeah.
People say that. I don't say it.
No, actually, you know what? I digress. I think Randy Moss is the greatest wide receiver of all time, but Jerry Rice is right there with him.
All right. So would it be fair to say that we like 1A?
1A, 1B, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. How many 2,000-yard seasons did Jerry Rice have?
How many what?
2,000-yard receiving seasons did he have?
Just his
I don't know.
Holmes, 0.
0.
Sure. That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And you said Randy Moss, in your opinion, is the next person, right? Like he's the guy that you say
I think he's the top. I think he's my 1A. He's my GOAT.
How many 1,800-yard receiving yards did Randy Moss have?
0.
Yeah. But now let's fast forward to a league that's changed things. You got people like Cooper Kupp breaking 2,000. What the hell? Calvin Johnson. Not Calvin Johnson. What the other damn receiver name? It was Calvin Johnson. I'm drawing blanks. Good grief. You have receivers now getting 2,000 yards though. And that is because the NFL has changed so much. Like back in the day, because of people like Jack Tatum, you could beat the brakes out of a receiver at the line of scrimmage. Not no more. Nope. I remember it used to be you got paid more money because if you had to go across the middle of the field, they knew it was a hazard there. Not anymore. You're safe to go across the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
Better not lower your shoulder too high. God forbid you're standing 5'10", I'm 6'4". Hoops, I gave you helmet to helmet. I'm just telling you, it's a different game that allows for the numbers to get bigger. And that's why I hate fantasy football. Because this started because of fantasy football. People love stats. And for some reason, even when you look at they say, oh, the best defensive lineman has sacks. It's like, what? Did you watch the game? And Ndamukong Suh don't have all the sacks. He just disrupts stuff and everybody else gets off.
They run the other way.
I look at that. I don't care about the stats because they're lying to me in my face a lot of the times. They just are.
Let me ask you a question. You say this all started when fantasy football started.
Oh yeah, I freaking hate fantasy football.
Okay. You do realize fantasy football started in 1962, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. But you do realize that the popularity of fantasy football didn't take off until Madden really picked up in its video game world, right?
Right, but there were fantasy football leagues prior to all of this. So
right, but
when was the first
ESPN
ESPN league?
The fact that it's because of God, I mean, whenever you had to stop, getting off your phone calls so you can get on the internet. So I don't know, was that 2006 maybe? I don't know.
Like there's other things that factor into why I don't care that what year it started, because we know that the internet didn't go public until 95. So
yeah,
and then even at that point, it still wasn't relatively available to most people. Now you can.
Oh, then he used to hit it. He used to be like, "Ma, get off the phone."
I'm just saying, but it wasn't even cheap then. And once it became more and more available to people, then you start to see more and more of that sport getting bigger and bigger. And at one point, I remember where there were certain records that was never getting met, but everything got blown out of the water. There are players getting into the Hall of Fame because they're on TV and other things going on. And I start to see all these little trends, and I just go, wow, what an interesting world to be in. Like, how is Charles Tillman not in the Hall of Fame? Do people not realize that this man had 44 forced fumbles as a cornerback, not a safety, not a linebacker, not a D lineman, a quarterback? 44 forced fumbles to 38 interceptions. He literally accounted for 80 turnovers and is not in the Hall of Fame. I'm just going to be quiet.
But you get that in a lot of sports, right? You get that. Hell, I mean, you could talk baseball Hall of Fame all day long. I'll fucking kill somebody because Barry Bonds is not in the Hall of Fame. He's got 688 career intentional walks. The Tampa Bay Rays have 650 in their organization's history. So that man's not in the Hall of Fame
because he cheated.
Right, like I said,
he didn't. Shut up.
When Cooper, like I said, I'm just making a point to you. When Cooper Kupp becomes the first player to ever have 2,000 yards receiving, that's a problem.
Yep.
Why is that a problem?
Because he's white.
Because that tells you.
Is it so unfathomable that a white wide receiver could be the best wide receiver of all time?
Listen, trust me. It's not even the fact that he's white. It's the fact that he's a slot receiver.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not even the primary number. He's not even number one. He's a slot receiver with 2.
He's their number one wide receiver.
He is the number one target receiver, but he's not out there on the outside taking coverage away and stuff like. He's doing it from the inside. And I'm just saying, like I'm just telling you, like he's not going against their best corner. He's going against the third or fourth or whatever. You know, like come on, let's be honest. He's not going against the top corner. Who's traveling with a slot receiver?
Thanks for jumping in, Luke G, even though you were wrong on everything you said tonight. I appreciate everything. I appreciate you hopping on. I appreciate you coming in and just proving to everybody that you're wrong about everything you said tonight.
Yeah. Big shout out to the rest for throwing flags on Luke G, too, trying to get him in line a little bit. No.
I'm pretty sure they're still throwing flags.
Yeah. Flag to the left, flag to the right. Luke, tell people about your show before we head out.
Oh, for sure. It's Luke G's Field Review, where I talk all things Detroit Lions sports. I do film study on prospects, so it don't even matter if they really for the Lions or not. You'll see me doing film studies on them. Some of them are live, some of them are not. I allow for you to be a part of the show. And if you ever want to be a part of the show, you simply reach out to me on some social media, like Instagram at PhilGs or Twitter at PhilGs, or email LukeGsFieldReview@gmail.com. And I get you on the show. We talk and have fun. Real simple.
Simple as that. Luke, thanks for joining us, man, as always. And we love your fans over there. Like, they are loyal to you guys. So
I appreciate them. I really do. I appreciate them.
Combsy.
Salute to you, gentlemen, man. Knock it out the park as you always do.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Combsy, send us out, big guy.
Man, our nation. Luke G, get the hell out of here. Rise up.